Very mild New England Sunday afternoon in mid-December. Welcome back. Before we get things started, let's bring in the third member of our crew downstairs to Jenny Dell.
Well, Ian, December means the temperatures are cooling off. It's a brisk 42 degrees out here, but Tom Brady is heating up. He's a career 46-7 in the month of December, and I spoke with him earlier. He said December is when football is all about. He's proud of the way that his team has stepped up at this point in the season and realizes that this is what matters when they play their best football. Ian and Dan, Patriots, they're happy to be home. They are won 34 straight here at Gillette against AFC opponents.
And Jenny, Tom put it pretty simply. He said it's a championship game. They have a chance to win the division. They take these things very seriously, and they have a chance to knock Miami out of it. New England won the toss, deferred to the second half. Jarvis Landry, the rookie out of LSU, will return the kick of Steven Gostkowski. The NFL on CBS, we're underway from Foxborough. Through the back of the end zone, the Dolphins will have it at the 20-yard line with a 7-6 record. And here comes Ryan Tannehill. One of the areas of improvement has been completion percentage. He is 6th in the NFL at 66.7% in his third year.
And he told us yesterday he knows the first couple of series against the Patriots will be a feeling out process. Important to see how the Patriots will match up in both the base sets and nickel sets, as he's expecting to have more opportunities to go down the field deep.
Miami hasn't been to the playoffs since 2008, lost in the wild card round that year to Baltimore, 27-9. Tannehill, it is a deep ball to open things up. Mike Wallace on the receiving end. Big play to start off. The Dolphins strike. They go against the scouting report with McCourty and Butler back there for New England.
Well, a little double move on Malcolm Butler. And the ball slightly underthrown, or this might have been a touchdown. But a great way to start the game for Tannehill. Something that you haven't been able to do very often this year, a 50-yarder.
So first down in New England territory on a give for Lamar Miller, and he's stacked up. Nothing there. He'll pick up a yard on forward progress. Wilfork, first man there. Starting offensive line for Miami. Dallas Thomas had a rough go of it last week in the 28-13 loss to Baltimore on the right side. And there is Wallace getting involved early. Big playability, deep speed. We don't necessarily see it on a week-in and week-out basis the way things have been set up for Miami. A lot of short passes for Tannehill, high percentage, timing routes in the West Coast offense. 2nd and 9. Tannehill, how about this? On a toss to Matthews. Tannehill looking to run, and then quickly a 3-yard pass for Matthews, who's hit by Casillas of New England. Defensively for the Patriots, it is Silver Selinga who is in there, but Chandler Jones is active. Jones available. He's missed the last 6 games with a hip injury. Dante Hightower is back, missed last week's game with a shoulder injury. And Brandon Browner, one of those new additions this year. Browner brings that physical edge to the secondary. He's been everything Bill Belichick hoped he would be. On a 3rd and 6. Kitchen for Miller. Miller cuts it up. And brought down. So a drive that started out with so much promise after the 50-yard long ball. Miami will now settle for a field goal attempt. Devin McCourty in on the stop along with Browner for New England.
Now the one thing the Dolphins want to do with Lamar Miller obviously is get him more touches during the game, averaging just about 12.5 per game. But it's also on the outside in space where he's more dangerous than between the tackles. That time, good pursuit by the Patriots down the line.
41-yard attempt for Caleb Sturgis. The punter Fields will hold it, and it's blocked. Ball is rolling, scooped up at the 40. Patriots coming the other way with it. Logan, Kyle Arrington, all the way for New England. 61 yards. Jamie Collins on the block. And what a turn to open things up.
Well, for Arrington, 4 career touchdowns now. And a 9-yard fumble return against Cincinnati this season. The second time he's blocked a field goal, brought one back all the way. Collins with the right hand there, 6'3" and very athletic, and a huge play for the Patriots as they flip the scoreboard.
Dolphins complaining that the Patriots players stacked up and climbed over one another for that block. Second block field goal return for a touchdown this season for New England. Extra point. Gostkowski. 62 yards officially. The Patriots manufacture ways to put points on the board. Tom Brady didn't even have to do anything. Jamie Collins continues to produce in a number of different ways for the New England Patriots in his second year at a Southern Mississippi second-round draft pick. He has been a standout defensively and comes up with a special teams play for special teams coach Scott O'Brien and the Pats. 7-0 lead. Another kickoff from Gostkowski. Landry can't take it back. It's out to the 20. Well, let's take it back. Week 2. Chandler Jones returned a block field goal, 58 yards for the touchdown. New England won the game 30-7 over Minnesota. Week 7 against the Jets, Chris Jones blocked a 58-yard attempt by Nick Folk. That sealed the deal for the Pats, and then tacked this one onto the highlight reel, Dan.
Yeah, just the very first field goal block for Caleb Sturgis just in his second year, but Collins, one of those special gifted athletes, according to defensive coordinator Matt Patricia, very smart and athletic. He showed all of that on that block.
Tannehill on a give for Miller. Zigzags his way for a 3-yard pickup for Miami. 7-0 lead for New England. 12:26 to play in the first. Sealinga in on that stop. There is Joe Philbin. First block field goal return touchdown allowed by Miami since 1991 at the Jets. Long stretch. Santa likes it.
Arrington got a good bounce too, didn't he?
Philbin, a New England native from Springfield, Massachusetts. 2nd and 7. Connection made to Charles Clay. Slips one tackle, but comes up short of a first down. Vince Wilfork on the chase down. It's a 5-yard pickup.
Now this is where the Dolphins have got to improve, is staying on the field, converting third downs. Just 40% on the season. That's going up against the Patriots, who have struggled at times preventing first downs on third down.
First meeting in week 1, Bill Lazor's offense was effective. 33-20 win over New England. Miami had 191 rushing yards. Tannehill on a third down, hooks up underneath. He gets Damian Williams, the rookie out of Oklahoma, involved for a 6-yard pickup. And a new set of downs for Miami to work with.
Now the Dolphins are expecting Jarvis Landry to be double teamed on third down situations. Of his 63 catches this season, 18 have come on third downs.
Miami's actually looking for its 3rd consecutive win over New England. Since 2001, no team has won 3 straight regular season games against the Patriots. It's a running play. Here's the speed of Miller, former track standout at the University of Miami. Ran track for 2 years, indoors 60, outdoors 100 and 200.
And this is the point that the Dolphins want to make today, is get this man out in space where he can use that speed, and then at the end of it, you'd love to see your running back drop his shoulder into a tackler instead of just stepping out of bounds out of harm's way. Big first down for the Dolphins, back-to-back on this drive.
So Miami on the move once again. Line of scrimmage is the 43 of the Dolphins. Motion man is Deion Sims, the second-year tight end. Ground game, and Miller falls forward across the 45, and 2 flags come in. It's a 4-yard pickup.
Yeah, definitely going to be holding against the Dolphins.
Bill Vinovich, veteran official.
Personal foul, face mask, offense number 70, 15-yard penalty, repeat first down.
It's Jawan James, the rookie, who's playing at left tackle for the injured Brandon Albert, out for the season, torn ACL.
He's got that left hand on the face mask of Chris Jones, and both officials in the offensive backfield threw their flags on Jawan James. But that's been a problem with Miami, is consistency on offense. Negative plays on first and second down have put them behind the chains too often.
Another problem was protecting the quarterback last week. They allowed 6 sacks to the Baltimore defense, a season high. Miller, nothing there. Miller denied. They'll give him forward progress just across the 30. Patrick Chung leading the charge for New England.
And Tannehill's been sacked 34 times this season. Taken a number of hits. He's a tough guy, former wide receiver at Texas A&M, but
there is Matt Patricia, who does shave that beard when the season ends and then lets it grow.
it's back in a week.
Is that all it took for Patricia?
He's good.
He's gifted. Second and 23. Jarvis Landry comes up short of the 40-yard line. 8-yard pickup on the catch and run sets up third down. Dante Hightower back in action for New England, makes the stop.
And the Dolphins facing a zone pass defense there on second and real long. They probably will see the same type of thing as the Patriots come in with extra defensive backs now. Nickel in the secondary.
5 defensive backs. Deron Harmon, second-year safety from Rutgers, is in. This is a 3rd and 15. Tannehill operating out of the gun. Steps, fires, long ball on the way. Incomplete. Hartline, the intended receiver, matched up with Brandon Browner.
I'm not sure that Hartline could see this ball because the sun right in his eyes as he's trying to find it here. He's going to run right by Browner, but because Browner is so tall and so long, he can catch up. And you can see that Hartline had no idea where this ball is as he's stumbling, losing his balance there. The ball was perfectly thrown.
That's the first incomplete pass from Ryan Tannehill, is 4 of 5. And now Brandon Fields is on, 8th in the NFL in punting average, just under 37 yards per kick. Edelman, the return man. Edelman slowed down and brought down short of the 20-yard line by Don Jones on special teams, a 47-yard punt. We'll see the New England offense for the first time when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Amazon's new Fire HD, powerful tablet, endless entertainment. And by Honda, where you can get great deals during Happy Honda Days.
December has always been winning time for Tom Brady. 25-2 record at home in December. Over the last 9 games, Brady is putting up eye-popping numbers.
He stressed to us yesterday that the Patriots obviously very familiar with the defensive scheme of Miami. The key will be to force the issue by being aggressive early, getting off to that fast start in order to ensure the game is played on Brady's terms.
2 tight ends in this formation for Brady. First play from scrimmage for New England at the 8:21 mark of the opening quarter. Patriots have a 7-0 lead on a blocked field goal returned for a touchdown. Brady working from the gun. Throws to Julian Edelman. Edelman, big numbers in that 23-14 win in San Diego. Went for 8 catches, 141 yards, and a 69-yard touchdown.
And this looks a lot like that 69-yard touchdown with Edelman breaking tackles. He ducked below Delvin Shepard there, get extra yardage.
15 yards total. New England working quickly as they normally do. Shane Vereen gets the call. And Vereen hit out along the perimeter by Philip Wheeler. Starting offense for New England. Offensive line has gelled, although Nate Solder had some struggles last week against San Diego. Backs and receivers, Brandon LaFell talked about the new additions at the top of the show. LaFell has brought a physical nature to Josh McDaniels' offense, and they just feel like LaFell has the opportunity to break tackles every game and create more yardage after the catch. It is Edelman again, feeding him the football just short of the first down, it appears. Defensively for Miami, Cameron Wake has a lot of experience against this New England offense. Wake with at least 1 sack in 7 of the 11 games he's played. Brady, different look at linebacker. Shepard is in, Trusnick is in, Jenkins and Meese are out. And in the secondary, the return of Cortland Finnegan. Finnegan has missed the last 4 games with an ankle injury. 3rd and less than a yard for the Pats. They give it to Edelman, and he rushes for the first down. Hit at midfield. It's a 6-yard pickup for the Patriots.
I think the Dolphins were expecting a quarterback sneak, but the quick handoff to Edelman on the fly sweep as he cuts it up smartly as he saw that first opening in the Dolphin defense and got the first down.
So the offense has been all Edelman so far. 2 catches and a rush for Edelman. New England is on the move at midfield. Brady to Edelman. Julian Edelman for 12 and a first down. Philip Wheeler there to bring him down.
Well, with Koa Meese out and Jelani Jenkins out and Louis Delmas out, that's the middle of the Dolphin defense, and that's where Brady is attacking, using Edelman over the middle.
Delmas out with a torn ACL right knee placed on injured reserve. Brady knocked up in the air, and it's intercepted. Jason Trusnick doing it all himself. New England turns it over.
And he should be happy. That's his first career interception in his 8th year, and a huge play for the Dolphins to turn away the future Hall of Famer Tom Brady.
Tomorrow on CBS, a special holiday episode of NCIS Los Angeles, so full of surprises, everyone will be talking about it. It's a jolly new NCIS Los Angeles tomorrow at 10, 9 Central, only CBS. Saw the interception for Trusnick getting the start. Trusnick, known as a special teams ace, but the depth being tested at linebacker because of injuries to Jenkins and Meese. 3rd fewest turnovers in the NFL this season. New England has 12 of them. Just the 8th interception of the season for Brady. This play never happens. A flag comes down.
51. Ball start. Offense number 51. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's Mike Pouncey at that right guard position called on the false start.
Well, and their last drive started with a face mask penalty against Jawan James, so they start this drive backing up. And that's something that's just happened way too often for the Dolphin offense this year.
$7-0 lead for New England. 1st and 15 for Miami after the turnover at its own 29. Tannehill straight back. Tannehill throws. High throw is handled by Charles Clay. Out to midfield for 22.
Let's go back and look at the interception. Watch Trusnick look out first to the wide receiver and then get his eyes back to Brady. At 6'4", watch him go up in the air, knock the ball, track it down, go up and get it. Huge turnover.
Meanwhile, Miami's Ryan Tannehill is 5 of 6 for 90 yards, and they are in New England territory. From the pistol, Daniel Thomas gets the call, and Thomas keeps the legs churning out across the 45. He brings Jamie Collins over there. It's a 5-yard pickup.
Good power running there by Daniel Thomas, running through the tackle of Rob Ninkovich. Charles Clay, if Charles Clay is healthy, he's been battling hamstring and knee problems all season long. Daniel Thomas kind of limps off the field, but Clay is so important in this Miami attack.
It has allowed Deion Sims to see more action and more of a role in the passing game. Miller, spin move by Miller, and he's brought down short of the 35. He made Collins miss on a 7-yard carry.
Now watch Shelley Smith get out in front here to lead the way for Lamar Smith. Again, it's an outside run. Lamar Miller here with the spin move gets away from Collins, which is not an easy thing to do.
Damian Williams is now in the backfield for Miami. 6 carries, 26 yards for Miller. Under 4 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Fake the handoff. Tannehill out of the pocket. Tannehill looks downfield And throws it away. Penalty flag is down at the 32-yard line. Vince Wilfork put the pressure on Tannehill.
There's going to be holding called here against the Patriots on the other side of the field. Dolphins had a bubble screen set up to the near side. Tannehill forced out of the
Holding.
pocket to the other side of the field.
Defense number 91. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And it is Jamie Collins who's coming off a huge game. 2 sacks, 9 tackles in the win over the Chargers.
Yeah, you can see clearly that Collins is going to bring down Brandon Gibson. But again, on the opposite side of the field from where Tannehill was taking the ball.
14 straight winning seasons for Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. It's a 1st and 10 for Miami. Tannehill has the time. He hits Clay underneath. Brought down at the 25, 7-yard pickup, hit by Patrick Chung on the play.
That's 3 catches now in the first quarter for Charles Clay.
That tops all of last week. He had 2 catches for 41 yards in the loss to Baltimore.
Well, the Patriots paying a lot of attention to Mike Wallace after that opening bomb of 50 yards. And also Hartline, who the Dolphins tried to get deep on the last series.
We've talked about New England in the month of December. Since Philbin took over, Miami is 6-6 in December games. Tannehill will keep it. Ryan Tannehill shows off that speed that made him a terrific wide receiver before he made the move to quarterback at Texas A&M. 5-yard gain.
Well, this is who he's reading. Watch the reaction here of Chris Jones after the fake to Damian Williams here. He goes down, and then Hightower, still looking in the backfield, is late to get all the way back.
1st and goal for Miami. From the 10. Motion man is Landry. Running play, Miller. Picks up a yard. Silver Sealinga makes the play.
You know, Ian, that read option could be a big play today for Tannehill and the Dolphin offense because the Patriots play so much man-to-man. And you can see that the Patriots that time had Hightower waiting for Tannehill, but he just took his eyes off Tannehill too long, and that gave him the corner.
Most yards in the first quarter this season for Miami, 147, yet they trail 7-0. We're under 2 minutes to play in the first. They go empty underneath. Damian Williams trying to create after the catch. Slammed down short of the 5. Once again, it's Sealinga. Patrick Chung collaborating. 3-yard pickup.
This is where the Dolphins could really use a taller receiver in the red zone here, thinking about throwing a fade route or something. They don't have that big physical wide receiver or tight end that gives you the mismatch on the outside.
8th play of the drive. 3rd and goal for Miami. Dolphins looking for the equalizer. Tannehill from the gun. Tannehill fires. End zone. Broken up. Charles Clay, the intended target. Devin McCourty there defensively for New England.
You can't play it any better than McCourty does here. He knows that Clay is going to the corner because Clay did not make any move to freeze McCourty. So with his line drive pass, it hits McCourty right in the back of the shoulder pads.
Short field goal attempt for Sturgis, but we know what happened the last time Miami tried a field goal. First time in Patriots history they have 2 blocked field goals returned for touchdowns in the same season. This one gets through. Miami is on the board. 7-3, New England leads at late stages, first quarter in Foxborough.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Game of War. Play free now. And by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL.
Aerial coverage of today's game is brought to you by MetLife. Beautiful day here in New England. All we want for Christmas is Gronk and his kittens. Not sure. Did you see that photo, Dad?
Who hasn't?
Yeah, I guess it's been plastered everywhere, hasn't it? Caleb Sturgis will kick it off after the 9-play, 60-yard drive, 24-yard field goal by Sturgis. Danny Amendola is the deep man, averaging just under 27 yards per return. And he will not take this one out. New England takes the knee. Patriots will have it at the 20. They've got a 7-3 lead on Miami. Find the perfect gift for the sports fan on your gift list. Beat the crowds. Get free shipping when you shop CBS Sports today. Take advantage of this offer at cbssports.com/holiday. Under a minute to play, first quarter, 7-3 lead for New England. Patriots have it, 1st and 10 at their own 20. Two tight ends in this formation. Blunt gets the carry up the middle, and he's gang tackled after the gain of 2.5 on the play.
And this time of year is when LeGarrette Blount is most effective. He's so big, and defensive players are worn down at this time of year. Guys just don't know how to tackle him or don't want to tackle him sometimes.
From the gun, Brady knocked down. Jared Odrick there defensively for Miami, and it sets up 3rd down.
A little bit uneasy for this Patriot offense here in the first quarter, being outgained by the Dolphins by over 100 yards. So this another athletic move here. First it was Trusnick, and now Odrick at 6'5", thwarts Brady.
Brady actually had 56 passes in the first meeting in the regular season opener. Nickel package here for Miami. Brady off his back foot, in stride. Shane Vereen out of bounds. New England's got a first down after the 12-yard pickup. 27 seconds left, first quarter.
Well, Vereen, 48 catches on the season now, and whenever Brady can find him isolated on a linebacker, as he did that time, just no contest. So good out of the backfield.
They lost Stephen Ridley earlier this season, torn ACL and MCL right knee. Vereen picks up a yard. Philip Wheeler greets him for Miami. That'll be the final play of this first quarter. New England 7, Miami 3. We'll return to Foxborough after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Patriots outgained in that first quarter, 150-57. 4 of the 10 plays for New England has been for 10-plus yards. 2nd and 9 to open up the second quarter. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, Jenny Dell, the rest of our CBS crew, producer Mark Wolf, director Bob Fishman and company, set it up for LaFell. And LaFell hit from behind. 8-yard pickup brought down by Earl Mitchell. Well, Tom Brady, best record in December, starting quarterbacks, minimum of 25 starts. There's Brady, there's Darryl LaMonica, and Roger Staubach.
3 of my favorites.
Really? In that order?
Well, I love the Mad Bomber.
I don't want to force you into a ranking here, Dan.
And I love Roger Staubach, and I kind of like Tom Brady a lot, too.
You're kind of fickle, aren't you? 3rd and 1, LeGarrette Blount. He's got enough for the first down. JB and Tony Gonzalez, NFL Today update. Let's go to New York.
Ian, this will hurt Tony to read this highlight. Yeah, it does, guys. But here, Matt Ryan drops back here, gets picked off by William Gay. He's going to do the rest. He's going to take it back 52 yards with some nifty moves right there for the touchdown. Remember, Julio Jones is not active this game, showing up right there. Pittsburgh up 13-0 in the second quarter.
Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, and Jenny Dell.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Pittsburgh secondary has had some problems. Cincinnati last week, but Pittsburgh able to recover and get a huge win in the AFC North. Flag down.
Ball start. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's right guard Ryan Wendell. The Patriots going with an extra offensive lineman on that play, moving Nate Solder out to tight end. He will come off the field now as the Patriots go to more of a conventional lineup.
Yeah, it's a 1st and 15 for New England. Brian Tibbs is in there. Middle used wide receiver, second year out of Florida A&M. Brady play action, steps up, throws. It's complete for a modest gain. He hits LeGarrette Blount for 2 as we send it down to the field, and Jenny Dell.
Well, and Coach Belichick and the staff decided to fly directly from Green Bay to San Diego after Week 13, and Vince Wilfork said it was the perfect time to do that after a tough loss against Green Bay. This team was able to really bond. They hung out, they talked football, they had a great week of practice, which showed in last week's game. Now, we asked Tom Brady about that week as well. He said a good group of guys went down to the beach. Where was he? He was watching film back at the hotel.
Yeah, no beach for Tom Brady, and no completion for Brady either on that play, looking for Julian Edelman. But he did say team got to share a lot of meals together. There were tape sessions, and most importantly, he said amidst all that great storylines, they won the game.
Well, is there ever a bad time to go to San Diego?
No.
No, okay.
No, paradise.
It was a good idea, and it paid off. They played very well against a determined Charger team.
3rd and 13. Rob Gronkowski has not been involved so far for New England. On 3rd and long, Brady out over the middle, and it hooks up with Amendola, but it is not enough for a first down. Gronkowski last week, 8 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. And New England is going to keep the offense on the field, much to the delight of these Patriot fans.
A lot of options for Brady, especially with LeGarrette Blount in the backfield, but they're going to go over to the sidelines as Belichick changes his mind a little bit farther than he thought when he first sent the offense back on the field, maybe.
How do you feel if you're Ryan Allen? You're the punter, and you got to come out to a chorus of boos because the fans wanted the offense to stay out there. Ryan Allen is the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Punting to Landry, fair catch called for at the 10. That's where Miami will take over after the 37-yard punt from New England. Early stages, second quarter in Foxborough. Patriots have the lead, 7-3 against division rival Miami. Ryan Tannehill is 7 of 9, 101 yards. Miller has gained 26 on the ground. Miami's got 150 yards of offense, but only 3 points. Blocked field goal attempt, returned for a touchdown. That's how New England got on the board. 1st and 10 for Miami at its own 10-yard line. Haven't won in New England since 2008. Tannehill offline and a flag. Hartline in a matchup with Brandon Browner.
Pass interference. Defense number 39. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
Now watch Browner grab Hartline's arm here. Right there, that will draw the flag. And Revis playing on the other side, matched up against Mike Wallace. Browner's used to having a great corner on the other side of the formation. Last year was Richard Sherman with the Seahawks for him.
8th pass interference this season for New England. Lamar Miller is spun down by Hightower. Picks up 2 yards as we send it to New York. JB, Tony Gonzalez.
Cincinnati getting it done.
Yeah, you can see Andy Dolphin's going to hand it off to Jeremy Hill here. He's going to do the rest. Takes it 16 yards for his 2nd touchdown of the day. Cincinnati up 17-0. Side note, Johnny Manziel is 1 for 2 for 4 yards.
Rough start so far. Ian and Dan.
Guys, it is impossible to forecast what you're going to get out of Cincinnati on a week-in and week-out basis. Sometimes they look like world beaters. 2nd and 8. Up the middle for Miller. Lamar Miller with a rip to the 30-yard line. Mike Pouncey blocking up front with Deion Sims to spring Miller loose for 13.
Now this is a great first half for Lamar Miller. 9 carries now for 41 yards. And look at the size of that hole on the draw play. 13 yards for Miller that time.
11 minutes to play in the first half. New England with a 7-3 advantage over Miami. Fake the handoff. Tannehill throws. Complete to Clay. Another first down for the Dolphins, moving the ball well once again. That one covers 18 yards on the pass play.
Yeah, there's just 1 catch for Mike Wallace, no catches for Brian Hartline, 1 for Landry, but Clay has been the big difference maker for the Dolphins in the first half. 4 catches now for 52 yards as he's working against McCourty that time.
Told you that Miami hasn't won here since '08. They've been outscored 147 to 65 in those 5 games played here in Foxborough. Miller, stuffed. Vince Wilfork, all 300 plus pounds of him. It's a gain of only 1 on the play.
He is remarkable. A man with such girth to have that ability, agility, and desire. Look as he squares up on Miller, and Miller cowers.
He's a space eater.
That's not all he's eaten.
2nd and 9 for the Dolphins. They are at midfield. Motion and movement.
Dallas Thomas.
Ball start. Offense number 63. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
It's 3 penalties against the offense. Face mask and 2 false starts. Just when it seems like the Dolphins got something going, they have a negative play on a 1st or 2nd down.
Joe Philbin went to prep school for a year at Worcester Academy, so knows this area well. Played tight end there. Kirk Ferentz, head coach at Iowa, was his assistant coach and English teacher. Daniel Thomas, no gain on the play. Chandler Jones makes the stop for New England.
Great job by Chandler Jones here as he's working against Mike Pouncey. Watch him fight Pouncey off, get his shoulder underneath the block of Pouncey, and then make the tackle right at the line of scrimmage.
And Chandler Jones is like a new addition because he's missed the last 6 games in New England, had to get by without him, acquiring Akeem Ayers, who has come in and has been a difference maker. 3rd and 14. Tannehill picked off. It's intercepted by Harmon. Duron Harmon into Miami territory and still going. Harmon works the sideline, pushed out of bounds. 60-yard return.
Overthrown pass by Tannehill, trying to get it to number 10, Gibson. And you can see it goes right off his fingertips. And playing center field is Harmon. And how about this return as he breaks tackles, keeps his balance, picks up the convoy down the sideline, and Satelli is there to block, knock him out of bounds inside the 10 after a 60-yard return.
Harmon's first pick of the season, and it nearly took it all the way. 1st and goal for the Patriots. They've got a 7-3 lead against Miami, 8:41 remaining in this 2nd quarter.
The big plays have come on special teams and defense for the Patriots. Part of the Patriots' way, all 3 phases of the game.
It is a +10 turnover differential for New England, tied for 3rd in the NFL. Extra offensive lineman on 1st down. Handoff, Blunt. Keeps on rolling. 5-yard pickup for Blunt.
Brandon Gibson is 6 foot tall, and the pressure forces this high throw from Tannehill. You can see it goes right off his fingertips. And a great job by Harmon to just track that ball. How about that return?
See if New England tries to get Gronkowski involved here. 2nd and goal for the Patriots. Chance to add to their lead. Too low, LaFell. They wanted LaFell on a quick hitter, catch and run.
Now, Brady told us that LaFell breaks a lot of tackles. He's a big receiver. That ball just thrown poorly by Tom Brady. 6'3", 210. In fact, it appears meeting with LaFell last night, it's a lot taller than 6'3".
Agreed. Now in his 5th year in the NFL, came over from Carolina after signing a 3-year, $9 million deal. 34 red zone touchdowns this season. That leads the NFL. 3rd and goal for New England. Brady on a give. Vereen hits the hole, and he's in. Touchdown, Patriots.
Now the Dolphins were so concerned with Rob Gronkowski, they had 2 men out wide, trying to prevent any pass to Gronkowski. That took the linebacker away from the line of scrimmage, exactly where Vereen is going to run this ball into the end zone. You can see coming in late there's Rashad Jones, all because Gronkowski drew double coverage way out wide. That opened up the hole for the easy score.
So New England takes advantage of the turnover. They make it stick with a touchdown. Extra point from Gostkowski. And the Patriots in front, 14-3 over Miami. Tannehill picked off by Harmon, and it leads to a flying Vereen touchdown. Patriots 14-3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Lincoln Wishlist event. Visit your Lincoln showroom today. Pepsi. Hype your hometown with Pepsi at Pepsi.com/halftime. And by The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies, in theaters everywhere Wednesday.
Better than 68,000 on hand here in Foxborough. New England rushing touchdowns this season. First 9 games, just 3. Over the last 5, 8 touchdowns. Remember last year, Blunt really emerged late in the season into the playoffs as well. Gostkowski will kick it off to Jarvis Landry. Shorter kick. Landry scoops. Landry hit from behind as he crosses the 25-yard line.
Let's check out the touchdown run for Vereen. Here's Gronkowski. Here's Deion Jordan. And there's Rashad Jones. Watch as the handoff is made. Watch Rashad Jones come in late here. So concerned with Gronkowski as a potential target, they're willing to take that away, but give up the easy touchdown run by Vereen.
Now this is where numbers could be misleading. Miami has nearly 100 more yards in this first half than New England, yet they trail 14-3. It's Wallace trying to turn the corner. And hit by Jamie Collins. Versatile, athletic, 6'3", 250-pounder Collins limits Wallace to a 1-yard pickup.
Now he had help on the outside too by Chandler Jones. Having those two athletic players on one side of the defense, very difficult to get to the sidelines, even with the great speed of Mike Wallace.
Miami has not tested Darrelle Revis yet. They've looked more in the direction of Brandon Browner in the passing game. 2nd and 9. Tannehill throws over there towards Arrington, and it's Wallace who is twirled down. 6-yard pickup will hit the 7-minute mark of the second quarter.
You get the feeling that Bill Lazor, offensive coordinator, wants to get Wallace more involved in the game plan, giving him a running play on first down, and then coming to him on second down, setting up a third down situation where Lazor has a lot of options, including the option with Ryan Tannehill.
3rd and 3 for Miami, just 1 of 5 on third down conversion so far in this first half. Working from the gun, Tannehill, deep drop. Tannehill out of the pocket, throwing, it's complete. Jarvis Landry. 5-yard pickup.
Yeah, just a great job by Landry by staying with this play. It's a short crossing route. Revis has great coverage. Tannehill buys extra time, and look at how the rookie fights back to the middle of the field, absorbs that big hit from Chandler Jones, and hangs on.
Injured Patriot, it's Kyle Arrington.
He's grabbing his hamstring, and the training staff out there, he might have loosened that hamstring up on that blocked field goal return.
So working on that right leg, Kyle Arrington. He's been an important member of this Patriots team since signing as a free agent in 2009. We'll step aside with 6:15 to go, first half. Robert Kraft bought this team in 1994. They've become one of the most successful franchises in sports. There's team president Jonathan Kraft and CBS President and CEO Les Moonves taking the action in mid-December Sunday in Foxborough. 14-3, Patriots leading the Dolphins. 6 minutes to play, second quarter. Tannehill under some pressure. Rainbow out of bounds. Jarvis Landry defended by Browner. Penalty marker thrown at the 37-yard line.
This might be illegal contact on Browner. Yep, that left arm right there. Draw the flag every time.
Pass interference. Defense number 39. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
Now, last week, Browner knocked Lardarius Green of the Chargers unconscious. No fine. NFL looked at it, determined there would be no fine. 25-yard penalty sets Miami up with a 1st and 10 at the New England 36.
And because the ball was in the air, it was deemed to be pass interference and not illegal contact.
Lamar Miller dances his way to the 29-yard line. Derek College on that left side, leading the blocking for a 7-yard pickup.
Yeah, really good job by College and Juwan James. They allowed Miller to just take his time. Be patient, let the blocking develop. Good gain on first down.
We'll get your word on Kyle Arrington as soon as we get it. 2nd and 3 here for Miami. It's a toss to Miller, devoured by Dante Hightower.
Watch Hightower. He's just going to shoot the gap here. Nobody's going to block number 54. You can see his speed and to get him back in the lineup for Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia. 5-yard loss that time on a 2nd down and medium.
Kyle Arrington up on his feet on the New England sideline. This is a 3rd and 9 for Miami. Tannehill throws, little separation, deep ball, dropped! Damian Williams had a touchdown in his hands.
Yeah, just a beautiful throw. Jamie Collins takes the bite on the hook and go. Ball perfectly thrown by Tannehill. Nobody more disappointed than Damian Williams. Tannehill saw the linebacker Collins out wide on his running back, got pass protection, but no payoff.
53-yard field goal attempt for Caleb Sturgis. Trying to cut it to the New England lead. Sturgis gets it off cleanly and connects. Made it look easy from 53 yards away, just short of his career long. 14-6, New England.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by TD Ameritrade. And by Cialis.
Hey, NFL fans, order your holiday gifts from NFLshop.com today. Save 20% and get free shipping on orders over $50 at the official store of the NFL. 7 plays, 38 yards. Sturgis converts from 53 yards away. And the Patriots now lead the Dolphins 14-6. Sturgis will kick it off to Danny Amendola of New England. 4:26 to play in this first half. Remember, New England will have the football to start out the second half, so a long drive here. You can control this game for a long stretch. Amendola's going to take it out. Amendola stumbles across the 15. Brought down by Trusnick. No missed opportunities. There have been plenty of them this season. Week 13 at the Jets. Mike Wallace drops what would have been a third quarter touchdown. Last week against Baltimore, Wallace wide open in the end zone. Tannehill overthrew him. And on this one, Damian Williams mishandles it.
The pass protection has been pretty good for Tannehill in the first half. And that time he bought just enough time to allow Williams to get down the field behind Collins. But Disappointing finish to that play.
Tom Brady in the first half, 7 of 11, 70 yards and a pick. He's got the time, knocked down again. That's 3 today.
That's big Earl Mitchell.
Earl Mitchell, a former fullback in his first 2 years in college at Arizona.
And Dan Conley did a good job blocking him. In fact, Earl Mitchell's nowhere near Tom Brady, but showing his athletic ability. Both hands high in the air.
Mitchell played with Rob Gronkowski at Arizona. We asked him about it. He said, yeah, he's got the enthusiasm of a 12-year-old kid, and it hasn't changed.
There's a lot of descriptions for Gronkowski, aren't there?
Yes, there are. 2nd and 10. Blunt. 2-yard pickup.
Did Brady call him a frat boy?
Called him a frat boy in a positive way. And he also said, you know, with Brady and Gronkowski's relationship, he said, he's in a different world. You have to go to that world with him at times.
And you proceed with caution in that world. Gronkowski without a catch here in the first half.
3rd and 8. It's a hamstring injury for Arrington. His return is questionable for New England on defense. Right now the focus is on a 3rd and 8, trying to keep this drive alive. Brady from the gun. He hits LaFell, and he's got a first down. Brandon LaFell, LSU, all of these LSU wide receivers. He was 6th on the depth chart when he got to LSU. Everybody in front of him was NFL caliber, and he finally got his opportunity and made the most of it.
And they do a great job of getting together in the offseason, carrying on the tradition of the LSU wide receivers, much in the same vein as the University of Miami does with their great program.
And they're second to Miami for most receivers in the NFL on current rosters. Blunt is met by Kelvin Shepard for no gain on the play. We're under 3 minutes to play in this second quarter. Well, big storyline coming in. Miami's depth tested at linebacker, and so far so good. No Jelani Jenkins, no Koamisi. Trusnick and Shepard have done their jobs respectively.
Yeah, Trusnick with an interception in the first quarter.
Shepard is playing that Mike linebacker spot. Trusnick on the weak side, and Philip Wheeler is the Sam. 2nd and 10. Brady in trouble. Throws, pumped up in the air, almost picked off. Sliding attempt by Jordan. Julian Edelman, the intended target. Tight coverage from Cortland Finnegan.
Well, back in game 1, which was an eon ago, Ian, Brady got sacked.
Offense over 62. Penalties decline. Result of the play. 3rd down.
I'm sorry, did you just call me Eon?
No, I said it was an eon ago.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, but getting back to the subject matter, Brady was sacked 4 times, and the Dolphins are doing a good job today getting after him and causing his timing to be thrown off just a bit.
They just declined the penalty. Would have been 2nd and 20. Instead, it's 3rd and 10 with 2:25 remaining in this first half. Patriots have a 14-6 lead on Miami. From the gun, Brady. Looking downfield, Brady dials it up. Deep ball, Gronk. Incomplete. Cortland Finnegan back there defensively. Physically, I'm not sure you're going to find two different players.
But how about the speed of Gronkowski? Get behind Finnegan. Ball just slightly underthrown, though. Finnegan with catch-up speed. Watch the eyes here, both players as they track the ball. Lucky for the Patriots that ball wasn't picked off.
Turned out to be the right decision for Miami, declining the penalty, forcing New England into a 3rd and 10 as opposed to a 2nd and 20. Now the Patriots punting. Ryan Allen to Jarvis Landry. Landry backpedals, can't field it, continues to roll. He may have circled out of bounds on his attempt and got back after the 60-yard punt from Allen.
Yeah, watch, after he misses the ball here, he's going to go out of bounds and then come back into play, and the ball is whistled dead at that point.
So Miami will have it with just over 2 minutes to play in this first half.
You know, getting back to that decision to refuse that penalty, Dolphins can get pass rush pressure on Brady with 3 men as they did that time. They're better off with just 3 or 4, especially with Olivier Vernon and Wake coming off the edge.
Running play to Miller. Miller slicing through the New England defense. And he carries it to the 20-yard line. 8-yard pickup, 2 minutes to play in the first half. Patriots 14, Dolphins 6. Back to Gillette Stadium after this. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report, JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower, latest NFL scores and highlights, as well as a preview of a special Thursday night doubleheader this Saturday on CBS and the NFL Network. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. Darrelle Revis and the New England Patriots defense facing a 2nd and 2 here from Miami from the 20. Take the handoff, Tannehill. It's slapped down. Let's just go back to the punt return with Jarvis Landry as he circled out of bounds. What happens here?
Well, he goes out of bounds, but he's got to come back in and establish himself. There he's out of bounds, but he catches the ball without getting his feet down inbound. So once he takes possession of the ball, the whistle blows and the play is over at that point.
So a 3rd and 2 now for Miami. We've got 1:56 to play in this first half. Pivotal play for the Dolphins. Toss it to Thomas. Daniel Thomas with a first down is ruled out of bounds just short of the 30-yard line. That's a 10-yard pickup.
Really a well-designed and executed third down play here. You've got the size of Daniel Thomas running at full speed, a perfect pass to lead him away from Ninkovich, and then out of bounds. So it all worked perfectly on that third down for Miami.
Miami has all 3 timeouts to work with. They have 215 total yards in the first half. Tannehill slings it to the outside. Sliding grab made. 11-yard pickup on the play. Brandon Gibson. Make that Matthews.
Yeah, what a perfect throw. Down and away from the coverage of Butler.
So it's a first down out across the 40. Tannehill in stride. Jarvis Landry hit by Revis. We asked Revis about Landry. He said he's arrived. They put him everywhere on the field, and he's getting the ball fed to him a lot for a rookie.
This is twice now that Landry's caught a ball on Revis.
So first and 10, just short of the 45, 14-6 lead for New England, under a minute to go. Long ball, and it's too far for Matthews.
Too far and out of bounds. Matthews kind of hesitated at the top of that route, but I don't think he could have made the catch even if he was running full speed. Watch him right about here, slow up, and then he sees the ball, and then he starts to take off again. Ball lands out of bounds.
Tannehill is now 13 of 19, 165 yards, and a pick. He's intercepted by Duron Harmon, who nearly took it back all the way for the touchdown. Patriots eventually got the touchdown to Vereen. 2nd and 10. Oh, Ninkovich got his hand on it. It's incomplete.
Well, Ninkovich is such a versatile player. He's got 7 sacks on the year and an interception. Almost had his 2nd pick. But dropping back into coverage. So close.
This is a 3rd and 10 for the Dolphins. Tannehill, out route. Mike Wallace extending out. And it's incomplete.
Well, he had the coverage he wanted, man-to-man, against Butler. And it appeared the ball just kind of led Wallace out of bounds. He could get one foot down, but couldn't drag his left foot.
And that means Tom Brady will have some time to maneuver. 47 seconds left.
And those 3 timeouts on it.
Brandon Fields on to punt it. Julian Edelman is standing at his own 7-yard line waiting for it. High high punt from Fields. Penalty range is over. Fair catch. Right around the 15 after the 32-yard punt. 40 seconds left to play in the second quarter. Rookie quarterback Blake Bortles and the Jaguars take on the Titans. AFC South matchup Thursday Night Football live on NFL Network. And the season wraps up with a special Saturday edition. Philadelphia and Washington on NFL Network at 4 o'clock. San Diego and San Francisco on CBS and NFL Network with coverage starting at 7:30. Football starts here. 40 seconds to play in the second quarter. 14-6, New England leading Miami. Dolphins have been able to hang around thanks to their defense, limiting New England to 101 yards in the first half. Patriots have all 3 timeouts left. First and 10 from the 15. Nothing there. Shane Vereen held to no gain on the play. Philip Wheeler with the stick and a timeout taken. Miami uses one of its 3 remaining timeouts.
Yeah, that's a smart play by Joel Philbin to call that timeout after stuffing Vereen on first down.
Verizon Halftime Report is coming up. JB and the rest of the gang. NFL scores and highlights around Week 15. And a preview. Thursday night doubleheader this Saturday on CBS and the NFL Network. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report.
And by using that timeout, it forces the issue now for the Patriots. That could backfire with a great quarterback like Brady, though.
Second down for New England. Motion man is Amendola. Keeping up the ground for Vereen. Picks up 2 yards. Timeout is taken. Cameron Wake with a tackle. Gronkowski still looking for his first catch. 30 seconds left. Rob Gronkowski entered action with 73 catches, 997 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He will go catchless in the first half here as Vereen is tackled on the outside. And Miami has used its final timeout. Joe Philbin urging his team on with 25 seconds left.
Yeah, good use of the timeouts by Philbin. Dolphins should get pretty good field position. At least to get Caleb Sturgis within range. He hit a 53-yarder here in the second quarter. His career long, 54.
So Patriots go very conservative with 3 straight running plays here in the final moments of the second quarter.
And the wind will be at the back of Sturgis and in the face of this punt by Ryan Allen.
Allen comes in averaging 46 yards per kick. 2-time Ray Guy Award winner back in his college days at Louisiana Tech. Jarvis Landry is standing at the 33. Miami. High kick. Landry moves forward from the 36. Landry makes his move into New England territory. Landry down the sideline. Out of bounds with 11 seconds left. Nate Ebner on special teams. But a 32-yard return setting up Miami nicely in the final seconds of the first half.
Great job of making the first man miss and then reversing his field. Breaking a tackle there of Aiken and then setting up the Dolphins in great shape. Now you go back to them using those those timeouts for a possible field goal by Caleb Sturgis,
right
or
now,
even more.
They're looking at a 50-yard attempt at.
And again, the wind in this stadium always comes out of that open end from left to right, and that's the direction the Dolphins are headed.
Tannehill with 11 seconds left, no timeouts remaining. Working from the gun. Rush is coming. Tannehill takes a shot downfield. Oh! Mike Wallace! It's ruled incomplete. He was out of bounds.
A spectacular one-handed catch by Mike Wallace. Gets behind the coverage here. Look at that left hand go up. Was his right foot out of bounds when he gained control of the ball, or was his knee down first? Well, I think that's a touchdown.
Now remember, you can't challenge here in the last 2 minutes. Not that Miami could anyway. They're out of timeouts.
That's a touchdown.
All plays are reviewed upstairs.
And And that one should be reviewed.
Previous play is under review.
It is. Tremendous effort by Wallace as Butler's got good coverage. The left hand goes up, brings it back to his body, controls it as his left knee hits the ground. That's a touchdown.
32-yard catch if they reverse it for a touchdown. And what a sequence this would be for Miami. Landry with his longest punt return of the season. And Miami got one shot downfield.
The big question is possession. He stopped the ball with his left hand, brings the ball back to his body. I wonder what Mike Carey has to say about this.
All right,
one.
let's
Mike?
check in with Mike in New York. What do you see, Mike?
Yeah, Dan, if I was ruling on this one, I would reverse this to a touchdown. Also, you are right on point. He gets control of the ball, hits the ground. He's going to the ground, so he must maintain control, complete control, which he does. The ball moves a little bit, but not enough to show loss of control. That should be a touchdown.
Well, we're going to find out in moments, Mike, if Bill Vinovich agrees with you.
Yeah, the Dolphin players watching the replay on the big screen here. All 53 of them just threw their hands up in the air in the touchdown signal.
Yeah, they have shown the replay now 3 or 4 times, and you don't necessarily hear a reaction from this New England crowd. I think they know what's coming.
Yeah, they're pretty quiet, aren't they?
This is an immense call.
And great usage of the timeouts. Of course, it gets paid off by the 32-yard punt return by the rookie, Jarvis Landry. And then, with very little time, Tannehill goes for the bomb to Wallace, gets behind Butler for the second time today. Remember, the first play of the game was the 50-yard bomb. Wallace over Butler.
So Bill Vinovich ready to rule.
After reviewing the play, the call on the field is reversed. It's a touchdown. The receiver had possession of the ball, 2 feet down inbounds.
That's a big-time highlight for Mike Wallace at such a critical moment.
Well, there's so much talk about the Dolphins' inability to throw the long ball. They've been willing to do it today, and finally it pays off big time.
So Miami cuts the New England lead to 2. Extra point here from Sturgis. Way too early to even think about going for 2. Unnecessary. Just keep playing the game the way that you would. And now it's a 1-point lead for New England. 5 seconds left. Mike Wallace, his 8th touchdown of the season.
And for Ryan Tannehill, 22 touchdown passes. The effort to stop the ball with his left hand, track it, and pull it into his body.
Tannehill had touchdown all the way.
Yeah, as he's crawling off the turf, getting to his feet. And then he saw the officials calling it incomplete, and now he's a happy dude.
First passing touchdown of 21 plus yards this season. That's amazing to get to week 15 and not have a passing touchdown more than 21 yards.
You know, in our meeting yesterday, the first thing I asked him, I said, why can't you throw the long ball? What's wrong with you? You're a big, strong guy. And he looked puzzled at first and realized I was poking a little fun at him. And, you know, he was motivated to get that done.
Was that quarterback humor that you had with Ryan?
Yeah, it's kind of a dark humor, you know.
Yeah.
But it's very effective, as you can see on that play.
Well, and clearly. Ryan Tannehill getting Miami into the end zone before the end of the first half. Nearly a fumble by LaFell. 3 seconds left.
Well, and that would have given the Dolphins field goal range for Sturgis if they were able to recover that muff.
So New England limited to 103 yards of offense. Miami has 271. The Patriots have won 34 straight home games against AFC teams, and LaFell is limping off. Their last loss at home against a conference opponent, November of 2006 to the Jets, 17-14. And LaFell is in some pain. New England will receive the kickoff to start the second half, but the lead has shrunk to 1 for the Patriots. End of the first half from Foxborough. New England 14, Miami 13. When we come back to Verizon Halftime Report. That's after this message and a word from your local station. This is the NFL on CBS. Kyle Arrington all the way. Tannehill, it's intercepted by Harmon. 60-yard return. Oh, Mike Wallace.
A spectacular one-handed catch by Mike Wallace.
Getting ready for the start of the third quarter in Foxborough, 14-13. The Patriots leading the Dolphins. Right now, let's take a look at the Bows game changer. Ryan Tannehill to Mike Wallace. Final seconds of the first half. Tannehill takes a shot to the end zone. Originally called incomplete. They felt Wallace was out of bounds, but after review, the touchdown goes on the board, and we've got a tight one here at Gillette Stadium. Welcome back, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts. Jenny Dell will join us as well for the second half. Rob Gronkowski, no catches in that first half, and that stands out for New England, which has had a tough time getting its offense in gear.
Yeah, they haven't been able to get him the ball because of the different type of coverages that the Dolphins have been playing on him. They've had linebackers on him. They've double-teamed him at times and basically just taken him out of the game.
Meanwhile, for Miami, good balance, very good balance on offense. They've been able to establish the run with Miller and then Tannehill. A couple of big plays downfield, 2 of them to Wallace, a 50-yard completion right out of the gate, and then that 32-yard touchdown at the end of the first half. New England will get the football to open up the second half. A victory for the Patriots, and they clinch the AFC East for the 6th straight year. Danny Amendola is the return man. Caleb Sturgis will kick it off for Miami. Third quarter is underway in Foxborough. Returnable for Amendola. Amendola across the 20. And chopped down there on special teams by Stanford. Let's check in with Jenny Dell. Jenny?
Well, as we know, Coach Belichick is a man of few words, so I asked him about this Patriots offense. How do we get Gronk more involved? He said, we need to do everything better. As far as Brandon LaFell goes, no update on that injury right now. As he hobbled off, going into the half, it looked like it was that left knee area. I'm waiting to find out more information, guys.
All right, thanks, Jenny, very much. 1st and 10 for New England. Jonas Gray is in the backfield. Gray had that one-star performance. Haven't seen a whole lot of him since. Off the play fake. Brady to Gronkowski. How do you get him involved? Throw him the ball. First play from scrimmage in the third quarter for 34 yards.
Yeah, they're going to fake the ball to Gray. Good play action. You can see Gronkowski. Too much speed for Trusnick, and late coming over is the safety, but the perfect start. You can almost imagine the halftime speech that Josh McDaniels gave his offense, but it paid off right now in the first play.
Over 1,000 yards on the season now for Gronkowski. Another play action. Brady throws it to Gray. Breaks a tackle, and Gray hit from behind. Out across the 40-yard line in Miami territory. 7-yard pickup. Odrick with the heat on Brady.
Well, Tom Brady's stronger than he's probably given credit for. He's going to break this tackle of Odrick. Spin away. Look at his eyes, still down the field and finding Gray.
2nd and 3 for New England.
Alert! 97! 280!
Now 143 yards of offense. They had 103 at the end of the first half. Gray cuts it upfield. And Jonas Gray picks up 5. That's one thing about the Patriots. You just never know who's going to get the opportunity and when it's going to come.
Well, Gronkowski going to do a good job here on Cameron Wake. Pins him to the outside, and Gray cuts off that block. Brings up a first down for the Patriots. It's like a totally different team here in the second half.
A lot more life in this offense. 3 targets for Gronkowski, the one catch covering 34 yards. 2 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Two tight ends. Play action. Brady fires it. Complete. Out across the 20, and it is LaFell. So Randall LaFell able to shake off whatever issue it was at the end of the second quarter.
Now for Brady, look at the throwing lane he has, and this time he finds LaFell, and that ball does hit the ground. That might be worth a challenge by the Dolphins sideline.
Do the Dolphins know about it?
No communication from up top. No challenge.
From the 19, give it to Gray. Gray will lose yards on the play. A loss of 1.5 yards. Randy Starks combining with Kelvin Shepard to bring down the second-year running back from Notre Dame.
LeGarrette Blount in the first half, 5 carries for 10 yards. So Belichick deciding to go with the quicker Jonas Gray. Still has good size. Green in now.
They rotate Earl Mitchell in. Randy Starks heads to the Miami sideline. New England with a 1-point lead. Second and 11 now for the Pats. From the gun, look out. Brady hit from the wrong side, and a drop ball by Edelman.
Well, you don't see this very often. Edelman takes his eyes completely off this ball. Perfectly thrown by Brady before the big hit there. Look at Edelman looking up the field as the ball hits him right in the chest. He knew he had a chance to get close to the goal line. First things first.
73 straight wins when leading at halftime for New England. Last loss 2000 against Miami. Brady took a shot from Shepard on the last play. Steps up on a 3rd and 11. Pump. Brady running. Tom Brady hit inside the 5. And he has something to say to Walt Aikens. 17-yard scramble for the 15-year NFL veteran.
His longest run of the year. Little pump fake there. You know, right about this point, he's thinking, maybe I can get in the end zone. Well, he gives a pretty good shot there to Aiken as Aiken takes him out of bounds.
The longest previous run was 6 yards, the highest yardage total on the ground for Brady this season until that scramble. 6 offensive linemen, 1st and goal. Patriots trying to extend the lead. Give it to Blount. Blount cuts it upfield for the touchdown. Strong statement to start the second half for New England.
Yeah, real good job by Gronkowski. He got this drive started with that long catch, but watch him come across here and kick out. He takes Wake out of the way. Blount sets up the block, cuts off it, scores.
Tony Gonzalez sat down with Rob Gronkowski on the NFL Today, and Gronk talked about the pride he takes in blocking. And he said, I take pride, but not every play. Just don't want to block on every play.
No, but he had 2 key blocks on that drive, including that touchdown.
Extra point from Gostkowski. It's 21-13, New England. The Patriots go 8 plays, 79 yards. They get Gronkowski involved right away to start the 3rd quarter. Tom Brady showing some grit on the pump and run, and it leads to blunt force for New England. 3-yard touchdown for LeGarrette Blount, his 5th of the season. That capped off an 8-play, 79-yard drive. It took just under 4 minutes for New England to go down the field and extend the lead. 21-13 Patriots. Gostkowski on the kickoff. It's a touchback. Miami will have it at the 20-yard line.
Well, Ryan Tannehill told me that they would have opportunities to go deep against this Patriot defense. Wallace first play of the game for 50 yards. Then some problems here to Hartliner. He might have had a big one. Pass interference on Browner, on Jarvis Landry there. And then at the end of the half, spectacular catch by Wallace. But they're willing today to put the ball up deep, and Tannehill's doing a good job with it.
Well, the numbers for Tannehill. He's gotten that completion percentage way up in his 3rd season. Tannehill keeps it across the 25.
And that's the other thing about playing man-to-man, a lot of man-to-man pass defense, is it really helps out the option game for Tannehill. he can get by the first defender or fool him with the handoff fake, and he can pick up positive yards as he did on that first down play.
80 rushing yards for Bill Lazor's offense. Miami has gone over 100 yards rushing just once in its last 5 games. From the 26, Tannehill over the middle to Clay. And Clay will pick up a yard. That's it. 3rd and 3, injury report. Let's get the Dell report. Jenny Dell.
Well, corner Kyle Arrington, we saw in the first half, went down with a hamstring injury. Originally listed as questionable, has now been moved to 2 out. He is currently on the sideline wearing his street clothes, cheering on his team, guys.
All right, Jenny, so New England down a defensive back without Arrington. And Miami facing a 3rd and 3. Under 10 minutes to go in the third. 21-13 lead for the Pats. Stop and go by Miller. He didn't get there. It will be short. Needed 3, got 2.
Really good job of defense that time by the Patriots. It's the read option play as Tannehill shifted Miller to a weak side, and Hightower did a great job of plugging up that middle and denying the first down.
And there is Arrington, Kyle Arrington, on the New England sideline. That hamstring injury will keep him out for the rest of the day.
Have a funky formation here.
Brandon Fields set to punt it, or will he? He will. Edelman gets under it, has some room. From the 23 originally, breaks a tackle, circling. Edelman caught by the ankles. John Denny, the snapper, getting down the field. It's a 47-yard punt and a 12-yard return. Patriots have the football back and an 8-point lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. The all-new Volkswagen Golf family, 2015 Motor Trend Car of the Year. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Tomorrow on CBS, these geniuses don't fit in the world, but they're the only ones who can save it. A new episode of Scorpion, that's tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, only CBS. New England Patriots 21, Miami Dolphins 13. Fake the handoff. Brady. Deep ball. Too far for Brian Timms. Cortland Finnegan drawing the assignment.
Well, there is nothing wrong with the arm strength of Tom Brady. He launched this ball about 65 yards in the air. Finnegan beaten on the play by Timms. Ball thrown just that far. Too much.
New England is 11-1 at home all time against Miami with Tom Brady as the starting quarterback. Only loss was 2005. New England had already clinched the division. Brady pats the ball. Downfield, a little dart is dropped. Hoa Manawanui. Flag thrown. Back at the 37.
It'll be illegal contact against the Dolphins. You can almost predict it. With Brady having that much time to throw, receivers trying to uncover. And you can see the argument by Jimmy Wilson's not going to work.
Illegal contact. Defense number 27. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Tremendous job of pass protection for Brady. And he bought a little bit of extra time there as well by moving out of the pocket. You almost feel for the defensive backs on that type of play because, you know, they're running around chasing these guys for a lot longer than they're normal.
Defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle in his 3rd year with the Dolphins. Spent 11 years in Cincinnati prior to that. On first down, Jonas Gray right up the gut. Wendell and Stork creating an opening up front. 14-yard pickup for Gray.
Well, Gronkowski may not want to block a whole lot, but he's doing a pretty good job of it today. Watch as he's the lead blocker here on Wheeler and just gets enough of Wheeler to give Gray that opening.
3 carries, 18 yards now for Gray. We've got under 8 minutes to go in the third. Gronkowski, the motion man. It's a pitch for Gray. Gray holds on to the football, and he is spun down just short of the 40-yard line. 4.5-yard pickup. Earl Mitchell will get credit for the stop.
It was another good block by Gronkowski as he came from a flanker position in motion back to the formation and threw a key block to get Gray another 5 yards.
So Gray's the leading rusher with 23 yards. Tom Brady is second with 16. Second and 5. Toss it to Edelman. Edelman fumbles the football. Right at the 35-yard line.
He may have gotten it back. This was digging at the bottom of that pile, and Patriots did get it back.
So New England retains it. Edelman taking a shot.
It looks like Shepard got his right hand right on the ball. But luckily for Edelman, it appeared the ball came right back to him.
Well, he had to go get it. There was a little bit of an extension there from Edelman. But he does recover it, and this drive stays alive for New England. Brady, soft toss to Edelman. They go right back to him, and Edelman is banged down after a gain of 9. All of those Wes Welker comparisons and similarities, you think about the transition they made when the decision was made to allow Welker to leave via free agency. Danny Amendola got the big contract. Amendola was the one that everybody just assumed would get all of those Welker-type reps, but it's really been Edelman who's emerged going back to last season.
90 catches on the season. We got this game and 2 more for him.
At 105 last year, Brady carries it for a first down, 2-yard pickup. Clock is rolling under 5:50 to play in the third. New England 21, Miami 13. A Patriots win. It will be the 6th consecutive division title for New England.
And this is the tempo that Brady talked about to start the game. This is what they've done to start the second half, playing on Patriot terms.
Brady looks incomplete, threw in the direction of Rob Gronkowski. Olivier Vernon with the pressure on Brady.
Well, Gronkowski here again. Philip Wheeler does a nice job of taking away the initial route, and then Brady with that pressure. Derek Shelby doing a good job in there as he alternates with Cameron Wake.
97.
Tim Wright sets up off to the side of Brady. Brady throws. Incomplete. Trying to hit Gronkowski as Brady will get himself off the turf.
Now Brady's been pressured throughout the day here. Takes a shot by Odrick, and then Gronkowski's going to find himself double-teamed. Rashad Jones short, and then over the top is Walt Aikens. And the pressure by Odrick forced that incompletion.
Dan, no sacks for either team here with 5:24 to go in the third.
But both quarterbacks have hit the turf a number of times.
3rd and 10 now for New England. From the gun. Brady fires, crossing route. LaFell trying to break free and could not get enough for the first down. Jimmy Wilson made sure of it. Gostkowski will come on for the Pats.
That's the 4th catch of the day for LaFell. Brady coming back over the middle with Jimmy Wilson just hog-tying LaFell before he could get to that first down marker. Good tackle by Jimmy Wilson. Remember, it was his illegal contact earlier in the drive that gave the Patriots a first down.
Two-time Pro Bowler Stephen Gostkowski, another terrific season. This is a 35-yard attempt. And he nails it. 24-13, Patriots. We're in the third. Tonight, our dangerous mentally ill patients denied care. A 60 Minutes investigation. That's tonight only. CBS. Landry awaiting the kick from Stephen Gostkowski. Patriots now in front 24-13 after the 10-play 47-yard drive. Landry won't take it out. Miami will have it at the 20-yard line. They're now in an 11-point hole, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive in Foxborough.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. The world needs more Straight Talk. And by McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it.
Aerial coverage of today's game is brought to you by MetLife. New England Patriots. Fans come in all shapes and sizes here in Foxborough. 24-13. Patriots in front. Tannehill throws up in the air and a gift. Picked off Patrick Chung. Second time today that Tannehill has thrown an interception.
Yeah, this is just bad luck here, trying to squeeze it in to Lamar Miller. Great play by Browners. He hits Miller just as the ball arrives. And Chung is there for the easy interception. But really, Miller was not open on that play. That was a forced throw by Tannehill. As Browner closed quickly, and with his length, as tall as he is, 6'4", he makes up for any lack of speed with great length.
And the first pick of the season for Chung. Sets up New England in Miami territory. Brady looking, jump shot, touchdown! Rob Gronkowski! Brady delivers.
And Brady delivered under real duress. Jared Odrick right in his face, and Brady could not throw a better pass. Watch Odrick come free here, number 98. Hits Brady just as he's releasing the ball, and look where the ball is placed. Just a go route, beating Jimmy Wilson, perfectly thrown before Rashad Jones can get over to make a difference. 11 touchdown catches now on the year for Gronkowski.
He has 4 10-plus touchdown receiving seasons in his 5-year career. That is the most ever by a tight end. Extra point, Gostkowski.
He has been the difference here in the second half. Started with a 34-yarder to get things going, and then takes this one into the end zone and gives the Patriots a huge 31-13 lead.
Bang, bang. Off the interception. First play, they go to Gronkowski for the touchdown. That's 14 points off of turnovers, plus another 7 off the blocked field goal. 21 of New England's 31 points. Taking advantage of Miami mistakes, but also creating your own opportunities. Gostkowski on the big kick.
And this is what playing quarterback in the NFL is all about. Moving defenders with your eyes. Watch as Tom Brady drops back to pass. He's going to look this way to take Rashad Jones out of the middle of the field, and then his vision will come back to Gronkowski. But just that little bit of looking Jones to the right side of the field gave him the alley to drop that one in perfectly under real pressure.
It doesn't feel like a blowout by any stretch. Yet you look up at the scoreboard. Tannehill almost intercepted again. Try to hit Hartline, and Chung got a piece.
Well, Patrick Chung's getting a little greedy here. Watch number 23 go high in the air. Should have made that catch. Right, hit him in both hands. But again, Tannehill trying to force it to a receiver who is not open.
4:24 to go, third quarter. Tannehill on a 2nd and 10. Get back to the ground game, and it's a loss. Miller brought down by Akeem Ayers. Came over in a trade with Tennessee. We asked Bill Belichick about him. He said he played a lot for Tennessee before this year. Thought that he was a versatile guy. Also can rush the quarterback a bit. And felt like there was a lot of Rob Ninkovich in there.
Yeah, that hybrid position that Belichick has been able to develop in a lot of his defenders. Jamie Collins, the same type of player on the other side of the defense.
Now this quarter has been dominated by the New England Patriots. Miami has 7 yards of offense in the third quarter. Tack on some more with Landry. And he's brought down. Logan Ryan.
Yeah, I'm sure at halftime that Bill Belichick said more to his team that we've got to play better in the second half, don't you?
Yeah, I think there's probably a little bit more context.
And a little bit more emotion and fire.
Yes.
The paint has been peeled off the walls because whatever he and his coaches said at halftime, whatever adjustments they may have made, working on both sides of the ball.
Another punt from Brandon Fields. Julian Edelman is standing at his own 23-yard line. Caught by Amendola, who was up on the play, and Amendola takes it into Miami territory. Off of the 35-yard punt, 13-yard return. Well, select company for Bill Belichick, not just today, but in general. But a victory here would put him in the same sentence with Curly Lambeau for total wins. Now, keep this in mind. Playoffs, Lambeau only had one shot a year, one game a year in the playoffs. So it's not fair to compare the playoff numbers, as we know. We asked Bill Belichick about it. He said, look, it's flattering to have my name mentioned with Curly Lambeau, but it's pretty low on the priority list right now for this team. Always staying focused. Always keeping his eye on the prize. Jonas Gray. Gray taking it to the outside for 6 yards.
And Gray has added a little punch to this offense in the second half. That's his 5th carry for 29 yards, and just a little bit more juice to that offense with Gray in the game.
Well, you think back to Indianapolis. He had 201 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had a career in a day. Brady lays it out there. It's Gronkowski again.
Yeah, 3 catches now for 98 yards for Gronkowski. And he's getting it by going deep. Brady again looked off the secondary as Gronkowski got behind Wheeler before Wilson could come over. And anytime you see Wilson or Gronkowski take a shot like that, you worry about his knee. He got up a little gingerly, though.
Limited to just 7 games last season. Brady, play fake. Floater, caught by Edelman. Touchdown, New England. Pouring it on in the third quarter.
Yeah, does it feel like a blowout to you now?
A little bit.
A little bit, huh? But the pass protection, Brady really doing a good job with the rhythm of the passing game. Getting back before the pressure can get to him. Now it's a play fake. Just 1-2 steps into the pocket. And Edelman wide open in the back of the end zone. But when you're running the ball well, the play action pass becomes doubly important and doubly effective.
Extra point, Gostkowski. Brady's second touchdown pass of the day, has 1 interception, 17 of 28, 226 yards. Also has that 17-yard run, his longest of the season. New England has outscored Miami 24-0 in the third. With more on Tom Brady, let's go down to Jenny Dell.
Quite a performance by Brady out there, and he has a routine that is scheduled both in and out of the entire season. Now, this is micromanaged completely, from his diet to his sleep schedule to his practice to his workouts, not only for the next week, not the next month, not the next year, but the next 3 years, well into his 40s. Now, he said that he's figured out what works best for him, and he's just going to make that work. And when asked how much longer he would like to play, he laughed and said forever. And then he went on and said, I'd be happy to play until I'm 45. Guys.
Yeah, Dan, you pressed him on that, Jenny. Thanks very much for the report. You pressed him on how much longer Brady's going to go.
Well, you know, he earlier in the season he said 45, and then recently he said he'd like to play forever. Well, we'd all like to play forever.
Yes.
I just told him, I said, you know, you play at 45, you're going to have to learn how to place kick, because the only other quarterback that I could know that played that deep or that long was George Blanda.
That's Blanda-esque. That's what you're saying.
George Blanda, unbelievable performer as a quarterback in his early days, and then a great place kicker for the Raiders later on. Tom says he's not much of a place kicker. Plus, they got a pretty good one here anyway, don't they?
How was your diet routine over the course of your playing career with San Diego?
I didn't miss any meals.
That's a good routine. The kickoff from Gostkowski, and it carries through the back of the end zone. Well, the Brady-Belichick combination, 11 division titles together. Today would be 12, and that would be 12 in the last 14 years. Compare that to Nolan, Bradshaw, Walsh in Montana, Bud Grant, Fran Tarkenton, Levy and Kelly, Landry and Staubach. It's Belichick and Brady, number one.
Quite a tandem. There's no question of what they've been able to accomplish. The only thing left now is to take this throughout the playoffs and win another Super Bowl, which would be their fourth together.
Don't you feel the Gronkowski factor, though, is what makes you feel different about this team this year? Here's Landry on the catch and run.
You see what he did in the first half. Really, his most effective play in the first half is when he took two defenders with him on the Vereen touchdown run. But then maybe at halftime he said, hey, what about me? Throw me a ball or two, and we'll see what can happen. First ball of the second half, 34 yards, and a couple other bombs. But you're right about, he plays with enthusiasm, but also he plays effectively. We've seen how good a blocker he's been here in the third quarter as well.
38-13, New England with 56 seconds to go in the third. Play action, Tannehill. It's caught. Landry loses it right at the end of the play. Clay was trailing, and Miami will have it.
This was an Odell Beckham catch by Jarvis Landry.
Well, that's his buddy from LSU.
That's right. Watch the right hand.
Yep.
But then he gets stripped of the ball by Hightower. Charles Clay right on the spot. Dives in and saves the Dolphins for another play.
We asked Brandon LaFell, who attended LSU, if he knew Landry and Beckham. He said, yeah, he met him at a football camp. LaFell was older. He was getting ready for the NFL draft. On a give to Miller, and he's slammed down by Jamie Collins. He said they were young guys, but one drill, he could tell that Beckham had a chance to be a superstar and that Landry would be an NFL player. That's how much they stood out at this football camp for kids.
In the common physical trait, they both have huge hands.
3-time XL. We're going to the fourth quarter. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back to week one, when Miami knocked off New England, the Dolphins scored 23 points in the second half and held New England scoreless. Today, complete opposite. Patriots set a franchise record 24 points in the third quarter. They've got a 38-13 lead as we start the fourth. Second and 14 for Miami. Tannehill in trouble, and Tannehill goes down. Silver Sealinga for New England. Jamie Collins was the first man that provided the pressure.
Now he's going to come right up the gap at Tannehill. Watch number 91 here as he gets away from Satelli. Forces Tannehill out of the pocket. Misses a tackle, but forces Tannehill to lose a couple of yards there. Great blitz by Collins.
First sack recorded for either team today. And now it's a 3rd and 16 for Miami. Tannehill. Open man. Miller. Short of a first down. Out across the 45-yard line of New England. 10-yard pickup. Hightower there defensively for the Patriots.
And of course, the Dolphins have no choice but to go for it on fourth down. And fourth down this year has not been kind to the Dolphin offense. Just 4 out of 13, which is 25th in the league.
It's a 4th and 6 for Joe Philbin's team, trying to avoid falling to 7-7 on the season and having their playoff hopes dashed once again in December. Shotgun. Tannehill. Excellent effort by Gibson to haul it in. It's a first down for Miami. Keep the drive going. 12-yard pickup.
Well, Gibson and Brandon Browner have faced each other for a number of games. They go back to their college days. Gibson from Washington State, Browner from Oregon State. That's a huge fourth down pickup, obviously.
New set of downs. Zings it in there to Gibson again. So Gibson, who's played with Philadelphia and St. Louis, originally a 6th-round draft pick in 2009. Signed to a 3-year, $9.8 million deal by Miami last season. We're down to 12:40 to play in the fourth. Fake the handoff. Tannehill looks. Incomplete. Landry, the intended receiver for the Dolphins.
Dante Hightower dropping in coverage that time was right in the throwing lane, and that forced that incomplete pass. You can see the green dot on Hightower's helmet. He's the communicator. Gets the calls from Matt Patricia and relays those instructions to his teammates. That was a super play by Hightower, where Landry might have been able to sneak into the end zone.
Patriots lost Gerard Mayo, their emotional leader in that linebacking core. Torn patellar tendon, right knee, captain, heart and soul of the defense. 3rd and 1. Tannehill to the end zone. Juggled. Matthews unable to secure it. And it's 4th down.
Tannehill throwing the deep ball very well today. Another good one here. Matthews may have been out of bounds if he would have been able to hang on to that one. Browner again reaching, getting in the mix there.
3 points does not help you. So no reason to send the field goal unit on. It's 4th and 1 now for Joe Philbin and company. Play clock is down to 3.
Yeah, got to use that timeout. Real late with the play coming into Tannehill. He had no choice but to call a timeout.
12.5 to play. Week 15 continues later today on Fox, then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. And tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. Another packed house here at Gillette Stadium, opened back in 2002. We are at One Patriot Place. They have built a village here in Foxborough surrounding this stadium. 25 miles outside of Boston, 20 miles away from Providence.
Now, sometimes it takes a village to build a football team.
They've succeeded.
In a big way. Beautiful stadium.
Bill Belichick, 14 double-digit win seasons in his career. This is a 4th and 1 for Tannehill. Squeezes it in for a first down. Rashard Matthews with the catch. The 3rd-year wideout from Nevada. 6-yard gain.
That was such a great play by Tannehill. He had to backpedal, get away, and then absorb the big hit by Alan Branch and still squeeze the ball.
Oof.
That Branch, he's a 325-pounder, took Tannehill all the way to the ground.
Another pickup by New England during the season. Branch formerly with Arizona, Seattle, and Buffalo. In the red zone. Tannehill loses the football. It gets kicked out of there, and jumping on top of it is James, the rookie. Chandler Jones stripping it free. And an injured Dolphin on the play is Dallas Thomas. who has stepped in at right tackle for James, who's in at left tackle for Brandon Albert. It's a loss of 16 on the play. We'll step aside here in the fourth. Dallas Thomas got up on his own and walked off. This was not pretty.
Well, Chandler Jones goes right around Juwan James. He takes the quarterback right into the legs of Dallas Thomas. Thomas walked off the field remarkably.
Jason Fox comes in to replace him. Fifth-year pro out of the University of Miami. Second and 26 after the huge loss. Tannehill on the outside connects with Gibson, and he is thrown down by the large corner Browner. Flag is thrown.
Yeah, unnecessary roughness on Brandon Browner here.
And another flag.
And they're going to get Brandon Gibson for going back into the face of Browner. And he'll get called for taunting, I'm sure. Totally unnecessary. He just got a free 15 yards. Sometimes your emotions take over. And Gibson's got to answer to the boss now.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 25, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 10. By rule, those penalties will offset at the dead ball spot, down count.
You had the first down.
3rd down.
Yeah, and he called Kyle Arrington. I thought Arrington was on the sidelines in the street clothes.
He is.
Brandon Browner, obviously the guilty party, throwing Gibson to the ground, and then Gibson inexplicably loses his poise and costs his team a chance for a free 15 yards.
(38-13) New England. Dime package here for the Patriots. Shotgun for Tannehill. Incomplete. Daniel Thomas, the intended target, and it's 4th down.
And that's one of those wheel routes that are real effective against man-to-man coverage, but this type of situation on 3rd and real long, Patriots just rush 3, drop 8 into a zone, and there's no place for Tannehill to put that ball safely to Thomas.
It would be a 43-yard field goal. I know they elected not to kick the field goal earlier, but they also didn't face a 4th and 18. 10:52 left. Down big on the scoreboard. Tannehill over the middle. Catch is made, and well short of a first down. 10-yard pickup by Thomas and the Dolphins. And the Dolphins turned it over on downs. New England with the football in complete control.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart, where you'll find unbeatable prices on this year's top gifts. Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And by Bud Light, reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
It's the last week to vote for the 2015 Pro Bowl. Select the best players regardless of conference. Then Chris Carter and Michael Irvin will draft teams as alumni captains. Vote now at NFL.com/Pro Bowl ballot. Voting ends Monday night. First half comparison for Brady and the second half numbers much improved. Brady throws it on first down, connects with LaFell. 19 yards on the hookup. Dan Connolly is dealing with a neck injury. His return is questionable, so Josh Klein has slid in to that left guard position.
97.
13 first downs in the second half. Brady underneath to Blunt. Brought down by Trusnick. We approach 10 minutes to play in this fourth quarter.
How about the Patriots with this size of a lead, going with play action passes on the first 2 plays of this series.
Number 7 offense in the NFL, averaging just under 382 yards per game. Number 3 in scoring, already above their average, 30.8. So they'll add to it with this 38-point outburst. Look at the time. Brady hooks a pass, and it's too high and far for Vereen. Linebacker Trusnick in coverage for Miami.
Now that's really been the key for Brady today. Not been sacked at all. He has absorbed some punishment, but that offensive line doing a pretty good job.
They've allowed only 18 sacks this season. That's 3rd fewest in the NFL.
Tom has 16 of those. Jimmy Garoppolo was sacked twice in his short stint.
Garoppolo, the rookie out of Eastern Illinois. Brady steps up on a 3rd and 5. Caught over the shoulder by Edelman. All he does is produce. Julian Edelman.
All right, now the Dolphins cannot get any pass pressure at all on Brady. Fulmer does a nice job of riding Wake behind Brady. A little out and up move there by Edelman. Over the shoulder catch. It's all working in the second half for the Patriots. Great concentration.
Line of scrimmage is the 30 of Miami.
Right there. 52.
Blunt in the backfield. Ready to throw. The hands of LaFell. So another catch for LaFell. That one covers 7 yards for New England.
5 straight passes.
We talked about that LSU connection with LaFell. Early Doucette and Dwayne Bowe, those were the guys that he learned a lot from. He said, I probably annoyed them because I just followed them around and just did whatever they did to learn how to improve.
And then when he comes to the NFL, he's playing with Steve Smith with the Carolina Panthers.
Blunt gets the call, and he said Smith was the perfect guy to break in with. Learning his tendencies, said he was so fortunate to be around him, and now to be around Hall of Famers Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. Just said the whole experience has been amazing.
And he talked to another former LSU teammate, Stephen Ridley, who told him that New England is right up your alley. This is a perfect spot for you because you'll be judged on what you do in practice. The competition is fierce each week.
Gray zigzags to the 20-yard line. We're down to 7:37 to play in the 4th. That's a 2-yard pickup for Jonas Gray. He had only 3 carries since that 201-yard outburst and 4-touchdown performance against Indianapolis. He had 3 carries until today.
He was late for work one day.
That didn't help.
That did not help at all.
It happened to be the week following his breakout performance.
Oops.
First down. And the ball knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Jason Trusnick pressing the line.
Yeah, the Dolphins came with a blitz that time right in Brady's face, and Trusnick with another good play. That interception in the first half, right side of the screen is 93, and he gets right to that ball.
Well, for Miami, it's disappointment once again. They're going to drop to 7-7 on the season after winning 7 games 2 seasons ago, 8 last year. They may improve on the win total, but the playoffs appear to be out of the picture. LeGarrette Blount with a 3-yard run.
You know, it's just been their inability to put together a complete game. Last week, they let the Ravens steal one in Miami. Now today, come out, play a good, solid first half. And in the second half, totally outplayed and outclassed by the Patriots.
They led Baltimore 10-0 last week. They got outscored 28-3 the rest of the way. And a similar feel here as New England put the route on in the 3rd quarter, putting up 24 points. Not on the same page, Brady and Gronkowski. It's incomplete.
Now Gronkowski, he had company out there, Jordan Kovacs and Rashad Jones double teaming Gronkowski, and Brady wanted to get the ball to him a little bit quicker. There's Jones. They get tangled up as Kovacs a little bit late coming over.
So 4th down and a 36-yard field goal for Steven Gostkowski. Made one from 35 yards away. In fact, he's made most of them this year. He's 30 of 32. Splits the uprights.
Hit the bullseye.
He did hit the bullseye. So do the Patriots, to the tune of 41 points. 41-13, the New England Patriots leading the Miami Dolphins. It'll be another AFC East title. 6 in a row for New England. For Miami, games against Minnesota and the Jets to wrap things up. For New England, that eye on the #1 seed. It curls out of bounds off the kick from Gostkowski.
Kickoff out of bounds. Kicking team number 3. Ball is placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
Dan, next week, the Thursday night football season wraps up with a special Saturday edition. It all starts with Philadelphia traveling to Washington on NFL Network at 4 o'clock. And then you and I, the rest of our crew, Jenny Dell and company, will have San Diego at San Francisco on CBS and NFL Network. Coverage starts at 7:30.
So it's a Thursday night game on a Saturday night.
That's right. I knew you were going to be confused by this.
Yeah.
Ready?
I'm glad you clarified that.
There will also be a Friday in between with no game.
Thank goodness.
Charles Clay, catch and run out across the 45-yard line. Going to your hometown, San Francisco.
Well, close. It's actually Santa Clara where the 49ers play.
Oh, good point. You Bay Area guys get so specific.
50 miles is 50 miles per hour.
That'll be a problem when I'm standing in San Francisco and everybody else is in Santa Clara.
Yeah, you go to Candlestick. I'll go to Santa Clara.
2nd and 4. Tannehill hooks up with Mike Wallace for a first down.
This is such a tough part of the game for anybody, but especially for a young quarterback where Tannehill really played his heart out today, victimized on a couple of passes that he'd like to have back, but throwing the long ball extremely well.
Over 300 yards of passing for Tannehill, the 1 touchdown and the 2 interceptions. Ball now at midfield. Tannehill fires it. Incomplete, trying to hit Deion Sims. So it's the 3rd year for Ryan Tannehill. It's also the 3rd year for Joe Philbin as the head coach of the Dolphins. And there's no doubt they were looking for improvement. Playoffs was the talk for Miami. And there were stretches during the season where they resembled a playoff team. But it's December once again. And the Dolphins will fall to 6-7 under Philbin in December games.
Well, they made enough mistakes today. You talked about the 2 interceptions, but the blocked field goal on their opening drive, it looked like they're going to go down and get 3 points. The field goal is blocked and returned for a touchdown the other way. You can't give a team like this easy points like that.
Tannehill throws it away. It was actually caught by the Patriots, but out of bounds. Collins delivering the hit on Ryan Tannehill. Basically, Miami had to win out to have any chance of making the playoffs in the AFC. There are a lot of teams stacked up. And Miami will fall to 7-7 on the season. Playing their 3rd road game in the last 4 weeks. They lost at Denver. They won at the Jets. And this will be a loss in New England.
Doesn't everybody win at the Jets this year?
Yeah, that's
pretty much the way
been the trend.
Yeah.
Except the Raiders. Drop ball by Matthews. That was week 1. Jets in Oakland. Logan Ryan back there defensively for New England. And now that #1 seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs in the AFC. That is the focal point for New England with the Jets coming up on the schedule. And then they'll wrap it up at home against the Buffalo Bills in Week 17.
And remember, last year in the playoffs, the Patriots had to go to Denver. And Peyton Manning and the Broncos with that home field advantage beat them on their way to the Super Bowl.
5 receiver set on a 4th and 10 for the Dolphins. Tannehill caught by Mike Wallace, taking the imaginary ladder for a first down. Hit by Brandon Browner on the play.
Well, Browner's gotten a lot of attention here today because Darrelle Revis has only had to defend 3 balls all day. Browner with good coverage. There's an outstanding catch by Wallace.
You mentioned Revis. He met with the Hall of Famer Mike Haynes last week. First time he ever met him in San Diego. Spent time talking philosophy and approach. Said it was really fascinating as Tannehill hits Jarvis Landry. And it was really amazing just to hear Revis go through it and how much he appreciated the insight from a former Patriot, Haynes, who then went on to be a star as well with the Raiders.
Well, Haynes, 7 years with the Patriots. Good enough to have his number 40 retired by the team, but the two of them could talk and they shared ideas. Mike was interested in finding out from Darrelle, you know, how the game is played today, what techniques you use, and they were even using you know, a little hand fighting to show how you do the bump and run at practice.
First down for Miami. Couldn't hit Landry, and it's incomplete. You went against Haynes. You know how good that guy was at his job.
Well, I kind of helped him get in the Hall of Fame.
You did, huh?
Throwing him a few picks. But he's such a classy guy, you could never get really too upset with him. Smart guy, very instinctive. The best corner I ever had to face. And that includes some of the great ones, including the great Willie Brown, another Hall of Famer. But Revis has those same qualities of instincts. That's the first word you hear from coaches when they describe Darrelle Revis.
Revis telling us he has a desire to be the best. He said that starts with learning your opponent, studying film incessantly, and then applying it on Sundays. A timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Intel. This is where it all changes. And by Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever.
Updated look at the AFC playoff picture. New England 11-3, division champions once again. Miami falls to 7-7, and look at all those teams in the hunt with Pittsburgh and San Diego currently holding down the wild card spots. Ryan Tannehill with just over 4 minutes to play. To Jarvis Landry, who curls up for a first down. Well, Miami's got some pieces. Landry was a terrific addition, second-round pick out of LSU. So savvy, sure-handed. And when the smoke clears, he's going to have big numbers for catches. Tannehill drops the football off the snap and covers up.
Yeah, it was a good snap by Samson Satelli. But Tannehill, again, he took his eyes off the ball. You see him looking up as the ball is being snapped back to him.
Second and goal for Miami. Come up on 3 minutes to play in this fourth quarter. Tannehill steps up, and he is dumped. Ninkovich and Collins combined to bring down the Miami QB.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to split this one because it was a race to the quarterback from both sides. Ninkovich gets around Dallas Thomas, and well, maybe he'll get the whole thing because I don't think Collins got in on it at all. The good thing about that hit by Ninkovich, it was a clean hit, did not lead with his helmet.
Can you go 3/4, 1/4, Ben?
No, you got to go halves.
No,
Yep.
well, that's a tough choice. Third and goal. Tannehill throws, incomplete, looking end zone. Gibson and Wallace were bunched together.
And you know how important it is for the Patriot defense to keep the Dolphins out of the end zone and only allow 1 touchdown this afternoon. That fantastic catch by Mike Wallace at the end of the first half.
Well, Dan, I know you had a report on the NFL Today about how well this defense has played going against big-name quarterbacks in recent weeks. Penalty marker against Miami.
Yeah, they've only given up 8 touchdown passes now.
Offense number 63. 5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
Against the very best quarterbacks in the league.
And it's Dallas Thomas. Good sign that Thomas was able to come back in for Miami. Not a good sign. Getting charged with a false start. 2:31 to play. It is 4th and goal for the Dolphins. And it's another sack for the New England defense. Number 4, Chandler Jones is back. And Hightower there to help him out.
Yeah, they only rushed 3 guys. They drop 8, and the 3 pass rushers get home. I mean, look at, there's 8 guys right there from the 5-yard line to the goal line. Not a whole lot of space for Tannehill. And his 5 blockers can't keep out 3 guys.
Jimmy Garoppolo is in at quarterback for New England. Rookie out of Arlington, Illinois. On a give for Jonas Gray. 4-yard pickup for the Pats. We're down to 2:14 to play here in the 4th.
It's good news and bad news for those stats right there. 90% completions is the good news. The bad news is it's probably going to go down.
Can't maintain it, huh?
It's tough. 90% is good.
2-minute warning. Coming up, Subway postgame show. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower, the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Subway postgame show. 2nd and 6 for New England. Gray gets another ball, and Gray has got a first down out across the 45-yard line. For Tom Brady, 21 of 35, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's 32 touchdowns on the season and 8 picks. Second half, near perfect for Brady.
Yeah, they really set the tone in the second half, getting Rob Gronkowski involved. Gronkowski, 3 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. All in the second half.
Final minute and change here in Foxborough. Gray circles to the opening, and a flag thrown as he hits the 40-yard line.
Good effort by Gray, but this one's coming back, holding.
Fifth penalty of the day against New England.
Holding. Offense number 80. 10-yard penalty. Beat first down.
Hold against Danny Amendola. .113 to play. Bill Belichick, most wins by a head coach, now matches Curly Lambeau. Shula, Hallis, Landry. Top 3 on that list.
Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame.
97's mine!
And that's where Belichick will be when he retires.
Give it to Gray. And he's brought down at midfield for Belichick. That's 14 double-digit win seasons in his career. Shula's got 20. He's number 1 overall. Landry 16. Number 2 all-time. Don't forget, Subway postgame show. JB and the gang back in New York. Latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. Final 40 seconds.
97's mine! My 20! My pass!
Gray drives to the 45-yard line for New England. And that'll do it. The New England Patriots are AFC East champions for the 6th consecutive year. 12th division title in the last 14 years. They defeat the Dolphins 41-13 at home. Miami drops to 7-7 on the season. The Patriots 11-3, looking to get the #1 seed in the AFC. Final score 41-13 for Dan Fouts and Jenny Dell. I'm Ian Eagle. So long from Foxborough. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. We'll join James Brown in the Subway postgame after this.